Athletics Director Ross Bjork sits down with Senior Associate Athletics Director Michael Thompson. We will also take a look at what's happening on campus this week. As always, we will take your questions for Ross, so be sure and get them in using hashtag AskRoss or by emailing us at studio18@olemiss.edu. Now, from Studio 18, here is Senior Associate Athletics Director Michael Thompson and Ole Miss Athletics Director Ross Bjork.
Good afternoon and welcome to Studio 18 Live presented by Old Venice Pizza Company. Throughout the spring, we'll be airing this show, so if you've got questions for our Athletics Director Ross Bjork, there's a couple of different ways that you can submit those. First, you can go to OleMissSports.com and use the Ask Ross link at the very top of the page, or you can use Twitter and the hashtag AskRoss. So please be sure to get your questions in for future shows, and we can get those answered. So welcome back to the show.
It's been a while.
It has been a long time.
I think since before the holidays.
Yeah, right, end of November, right before the Egg Bowl.
No doubt. It's good to be back.
It is good to be back. So this is a crazy busy time of year. We have our all-staff meeting once a month,
Right.
and we always get an in-season coaches update. And this morning we had 10 in-season coaches give an update. So
We have 18 sports, so
Yes.
more than half are competing right now. So no doubt about it. It's a busy time of year, but a great time of year. And the staff meeting this morning I thought was terrific.
it was.
Because we heard from 5 of our student athletes telling us about their experience here at Ole Miss. And that really brings it all home for what we do on a daily basis.
No question. So it is February. Hard to believe, but it does mean that baseball and softball have started. Baseball had opening weekend this past weekend. Softball, if we can get this weather out of here, we'll have their home big opening weekend this weekend. How would you say that went?
I think there's a lot of excitement for both programs right now. Obviously in softball we have a new coach, a new coaching staff with Mike Smith, and I think I can see the attitude shifting with our softball program, that the expectation level is rising every day. And so as the talent builds, as this team develops this year, I think we're going to see some exciting softball. And if you're a top half of the SEC program in softball, you're a top 25 team in the country. And so that's really what we talked to Mike about when we hired him, was get us in the top half of the league. And we do that in other sports. We're in the top half, and then you're competing on the national level. And so a lot of excitement around softball. And then obviously baseball. Baseball sets a standard around here of excellence for our entire athletics program, from the atmosphere to the game experience that we put on, and obviously to the competitive side, what happens on that field. And we did have a bad game in that second game of the series, but we bounced back and scored a ton of runs. And I think we're seeing the new ball have an effect on scoring, even though we only hit 1 home run. But I think that'll increase as we go along. So, ton of excitement. We've sold our second highest season ticket number in baseball on record, and so a lot of excitement around baseball. And hopefully the weather cooperates this week. Knock on wood, that we'll get these games in, both baseball and softball, as we move into the weekend.
It is a different feeling in Swayze with kind of Omaha under your belt a little bit. It feels different. It feels loose, which is good.
No question. I think people see the talent level. They see our coaching talent that we have with Coach Bianco. We have a new coach in Mike Clement, who's our hitting coach, our third base coach. And so I think people see his energy that he brings to the table. Our pitching staff has a lot of depth. So there's no question that there's a lot of energy. And then we just have the greatest fans and the greatest atmosphere. And so you mix all those things together, and it's an amazing experience.
Yeah, people have tried to emulate what we're doing in baseball. It's definitely as far as the experience goes. So there were some changes to that experience. Talk a little bit about right field and I mean kind of the process and what that looks like.
Really last year we noticed some behavior issues that we needed to address. Obviously. We accept what happens out there as part of the game day experience, but we have to do it the right way. And doing it the right way means that those that do drink alcoholic beverages need to be 21. And so we had to institute really a policy change with our UPD, with our game management staff, and with student affairs, to say that we have to card everybody, that if you desire to drink an alcoholic beverage, you need to be 21 and wear a wristband. And so other than that, it was really business as usual. That's how we described it last week. And my Twitter feed was very active between Wednesday afternoon and really Thursday night when we had a chance to really talk more about it candidly. And, at first it was, you're the guy that's going to ruin right field. And then it turned into, okay, I understand, I get it. Let's see how it all shakes out. And by all accounts, things went very well in right field, both from a procedure standpoint, but also a behavior standpoint. Right. And we just need to keep that going, because it's our job to protect, the mystique is what we called the right field. We have to protect that. And if it gets out of hand, then it goes away. And that's not what we want. That's not what anybody wants. And so I think we're going to be okay. I think we'll maintain right field. I will not become the athletic director who ruined right field, but hopefully enhanced it, because we made it a better, safer environment out there.
Yeah, and one of the students, we won't name any names, but one of the students contacted you and said, "Hey, I want a meeting. I want to come talk to you and tell you what you're doing wrong and how to make it better." Right. And so we had that meeting scheduled for yesterday, I believe. Monday at
afternoon.
4. And the campus, became closed because of the weather at 4. But tell us a little bit about what happened with that story.
Well, what he did is he emailed and said, "Hey, all the issues that I thought would come into play over the weekend, none of those happened. It was a great experience. Yeah. We don't need to meet." And I said, "Okay, that's fine. Be glad to meet anyway. But if you want to talk about the baseball experience, those issues were resolved in his mind, and now we just need to keep it that way."
That's awesome. So. Now, there's construction everywhere, and we're going to get, at the end of the show, talk a lot more about that with some images. But it did create some changes to baseball, parking, and shuttles. I mean, what's kind of the future for that?
Yeah, last year we added a few layers of shuttle service, mainly around the Manning Center, because we had construction around campus. We had the roundabout construction. We had the west side of the football stadium. We had a lot of things that were in play last year. So we added that shuttle service. But then opening series, we didn't have that shuttle service because we added it last year because of construction. And so we're looking at adding another shuttle service to that Manning Center lot. It is a little bit of a distance from that area. It is a donor area. Our donors receive parking there. So we're adding a shuttle to the Manning Center lot. And then we'll maintain, our ADA shuttle, which is really the priority there is our folks that need accessible shuttle service, that park in an accessible spot, and they need to get to the stadium safely. And so it's really primarily for them, but we will add a convenience for our donors and our fans that park in that area for the next series.
Good. So, I guess last show was in late November, so men's and women's hoops were, they were just begun. They're now well into conference play. I mean, a lot has happened in both of those programs. I mean, where do you see both those programs?
I really look at all of our sports right now, and I think we can honestly say that we're competitive in every sport. Maybe not quite to the level that we desire yet, but there's some new ingredients in those sports that are building, like a softball program, like a volleyball program that have new coaches. Same thing in women's hoops. Matt Insel's second year. And we have hit a tough spell here, lost 7 in a row. But if you look at the progress, you look at the competitive spirit that our team has, I think if you look at the athleticism, you can see that we're much better. Mm-hmm. The scoreboard may not be showing it because of who we play in our league, but the same thing applies. Get in the top half, and you're on the dance floor in women's basketball. So a lot of excitement, but still a building process on the women's side. And I hope we can finish strong. I think we have a shot to finish strong. We have 2 big home games against Kentucky and LSU, and we need a big crowd for those games. And then on the men's side, we're in the mix. I've had people tell me they've never had us in the mix this late in the season, where essentially do what we're capable of doing, and we're in the tournament. And now we need to finish. We need to finish tomorrow night at Mississippi State. We need to finish our home games, and then we have a couple tough road games against Alabama and LSU. And so I think the future's bright in both those programs with the new building. We can really capitalize on our basketball practice facility, the TUI Center, and we have great coaching staffs on both sides. And we're recruiting in both those programs at a higher level than we've ever had before. And so it's going to pay off. We're in the conversation, and that's what we expect to do as we build both those programs.
So this weekend we're having this grand opening of this space. It's totally unique. I mean, in fact, there aren't very many schools, if any, that have a setup quite like this. And we're calling it Ole Miss Fan Central because you can just do so much there. I mean, if you're an Ole Miss fan, you've got to stop by this place. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it is unique. It's a unique partnership. And if you look at the city of Oxford, you take the campus, and every corner of campus is under construction, it feels like. Well, then you take Oxford, and the same thing applies. Every street corner has a bulldozer, a concrete truck, and this building is in the same approach as that, is that development's happening all over Oxford. We were able to be a part of it. We tore down our Rebel Shop to build our pavilion, but we wanted a permanent site. And as this thing developed, we decided, hey, let's add a ticket office. You can go there and buy tickets. Hey, let's add a Ole Miss Athletics Foundation presence if you want to go in there and make a donation or talk to somebody about premium seating or getting involved in the M Club or whatever. It's one-stop shopping, tickets, donation, and then you can buy a t-shirt, you can buy a hat, you can buy a sweatshirt, you can buy your gear to set you up, to support Ole Miss. And then we have our IMG College partnership, which sells all the sponsorship advertising that we have, Old Venice Pizza being one of those. The relationship we have with IMG College has really changed the dynamics of our athletic program. Not only from a revenue standpoint, but a branding standpoint to be affiliated with IMG. So their offices are over there. And then probably the coolest thing is you can go through the Walk of Champions.
Yep.
There's a Walk of Champions arch with the brickwork and everything that we have in the Grove right there in the store. And it's just a cool place. And once the restaurants, move into that building, once there's more development, it's just going to be a cool place to hang out right there on Jackson Avenue, not far from campus, easy access, easy parking, which is typically a challenge with retail spaces on campus. We don't have any of those issues. It's a one-stop shop to do all your things Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean, you think like on a game day, with some of the parking challenges on campus, if you need to pick up your tickets or parking pass, you don't have to come on to campus.
That's
you
right.
Just go straight to that store or straight to Fan Central and see the ticket office there.
So we're ready to cut that ribbon between 4 and 6
That's
on
right.
a Saturday between baseball and the men's basketball game this Saturday. It's going to be exciting. We're looking forward to it.
Rain or shine. And
Absolutely.
also we've got we have a bunch of game-worn jerseys there that will be for sale. We're not doing Rebel resale anymore.
Right.
It's just it became so hard to
Right.
produce.
But now we have the store
we have the store
where we can
do a
unload
lot
those
of that.
items when we need to.
Yep. So
Absolutely.
you'll be able to go over there and get
Yep.
game-worn jerseys. It's a limited number, but get there early. We can't really have a Studio 18 episode without talking about construction, and we've been again a couple months. So there's been a whole lot of progress made, and I think we've got some images that we're going to put up on the screens. But talk a little bit about where we are with the campaign and construction.
Right. So the campaign, we're at $131 million raised in our campaign, and we actually have proposals out there that would finish our campaign by the end of this calendar year, where we would reach that $150 million mark. And, in fundraising, you're never finished. And so once we hit 150, we're going to keep going.
Right.
We'll raise the goal, we'll repackage it, we'll do something. But our goal is to finish the campaign part of it, the fundraising part, by the end of this calendar year. And we're on pace to do that with proposals, with discussions, with seating plans. So all that's moving forward to finance and pay for all these things. From a construction standpoint, if you look back mid-December, we had a big announcement about the north end zone, about the Vaught Hemingway Stadium. And so all those things are really still in a process standpoint. We actually get bids back this Thursday on the south end zone. And so that project will move ahead and be ready by this football season. The west side skyboxes are under construction right now. We'll start on our football practice fields here in the next few weeks to get that project going. Our track facility starts later this summer. The Gillum Center is under design. I mean, all the process and planning and procedure things that we have to do to get these things started are all in play. And then you look at the pavilion and you see a lot of steel, you see a lot of concrete that's been poured, you see a lot of precast pieces that have been set. The entire seating bowl on the east side is almost finished with precast. And those are essentially the treads that you're going to walk on to get to your seat. And so those are in place. And we'll actually start seeing the big truss system be set sometime in April is when those big trusses will come in, and that'll really change the whole skyline of that part of campus. And we are on track to open the pavilion for SEC play during the 2015-16 season. So essentially early January of 2016, we're on track to hit that milestone to open that building and play SEC games, both men and women, in the pavilion at Ole Miss.
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
So there's a lot.
Yeah,
We could dedicate a whole meeting,
It is so
Studio
exciting.
18,
yeah,
to
it's
the
so exciting
construction.
to
But
see
there's a
that
lot,
come out.
a lot of
and-
excitement.
And if you haven't looked at the live cams, Google Ole Miss live cams, and there's 3 different cameras, I believe.
Right,
We've
3
got-
different
we've got
angles.
shot. I mean, it is amazing, and you
They're,
can see them working.
they're out there working 7 days a week.
Yeah.
You know, they were out there in the ice and the rain and the weather this week as well. And so it's a nonstop project. And we have a great team between our architects, our construction managers, our contractor, BL Harbert, and they're pushing every day to get us in that building. So it's
Yeah.
exciting.
It is exciting because it's not just a hole. Like it was a hole for a long time because
Right.
you have to do all that stuff, but now it actually is starting to take shape.
No
It's,
doubt.
it's neat. It's really neat to look at. So we've got a great fan question for today's show that came in from Twitter from at Jay Robinson. How would you change/improve the process of National Signing Day to protect kids and schools? This is a big one.
It is. It's a great question, and I think this year in particular, we saw a lot of cases, perhaps where young men changed their mind at the last minute. Coaches maybe switched programs, at the last minute, and I think that's where this question is coming from. And so I think it's a valid question of how do we, support the young people that are signing those pieces of paper, but also protect the programs at the same time. One of the great thrills that I get as an athletic director is signing those national letters of intent really about a week before signing day, and to be able to see those names and, hey, this is the future of our program right here. This young man or this woman is the future of our programs, whether it's soccer, volleyball, golf, football, whatever. And so that's always been part of our system, if you will, is the national letter of intent. Is it the right document? I don't know yet. I think we need to really study this piece of it. I think we need to study those documents. I think we need a lot more data on this topic. Frankly, we signed about 30 athletes between all of our sports, and not one person refused to sign it. Not one person complained about the NLI, but that doesn't mean there's not an issue. And so I think we need to really study this and figure out what the right the plan is, again, to protect both the kids who are signing these and the schools. What does that look like? What does that document look like? But I do believe that we need to examine this and look into it and see, is this the right approach? Our financial aid papers, I think, are great because they do protect the young person and the school. But that NLI that layers on top of that could use evaluation and really a lot more data on the angst that perhaps is out there.
So what do we do with the fax machine? Do you think that will ever go away?
Well,
I'm fascinated by this.
There is
fax machine.
a software where you can do e-signing
Yeah.
of all these documents. We haven't gone into that.
Scan an email.
The old school approach
Yeah.
of the fax machine. Why not? We got to keep some things retro.
I guess there's some
around here.
drama in it too. I mean, you hear the thing
right.
ring, and it starts to print, and you really don't know who it is.
The coaches, they get to the office at 5:30 because the fax machine starts at 6 o'clock, and yeah, there is some drama to it.
Yeah.
Is that the right one coming in? Do we have any surprises? So
It's one of those old printers that just makes the noise.
That's right.
I mean, yeah, there's some drama to it.
I can't
All
tell
right.
you the last time I sent a fax though.
No.
Scan
an email.
email.
Scan an email. Scan
Or
an email.
take a picture of it
yeah
and
yeah.
text it.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. So
We just solved the fax machine issue. Well, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Stick around for a quick update on what's happening around campus this week, and we'll see you back here later this spring on Studio 18 Live, presented by Old Venice Pizza Company.
Look into upcoming events here on campus. Friday, women's tennis will face off with Lipscomb with the first serve coming at noon. Followed up by Coach Bianco and crew opening their 3-game series with Wright State at 4 p.m. In the evening, softball will make their home debut against UT Martin at 6 p.m. as a part of the Red and Blue Classic. Saturday, we'll start off with baseball's Game 2 against Wright State at 1:30 p.m. And softball will look to sweep their back-to-back games against Nebraska Omaha and Southern Illinois starting at 1:30 p.m. Capping off the night, men's hoops will take on Tennessee at a sold-out Tad Smith Coliseum at 8 p.m. On Sunday, softball versus Middle Tennessee and baseball versus Wright State will throw their first pitches at 1:30 p.m. For tickets and more information, please visit OleMissSports.com.